Hi everyone, it's Heidi here, and I'm super excited because today I'm going to be starting my Cricut Cartridge review series, and the first installment is A Child's Year. So what I'm going to be doing today is reviewing this cartridge, but more importantly I'm going to be reviewing each of the function buttons, so that after this tutorial you'll know exactly what you can cut using each of those function buttons. So, starting off with what I like to call the base cut. The base cut is the cut you get when you press the button, the main button, without using any of the functions. And what I cut out was the little baby in the high chair with the cake, and you can find that on page 28 in your A Child's Year manual. I cut this shape at 4 1/4 inches, and I did use the shadow feature to cut the shadow. The next function, or the first function button, shall I say, is the monogram. The monogram function, right here. The monogram function button offers you two different shapes. It offers you an oval, scalloped oval, and it offers you a balloon shape. Inside each of these you can find either words, such as boy, shapes, such as the little baby face, or the little boy's face, or letters. So you can cut like a capital A, or a capital D, or a capital T, a monogram. And one of the nice things about this function button, the monogram function button, is that you do have these little positive pieces left over that you can use to embellish your page or your card. So you've got your negative cut and your positive cut. So those are nice little leftovers that you can use. One other thing I wanted to mention about this, the monogram shape, is that on page 57 in your manual, you will find the monogram shape they offer is almost like a blackout. So you've got just the scallop circle and just the blackout, or the solid balloon. What I did with these was I cut them and used them for the back of my shape. And that was really nice because then I was able to glue on the rest of the B and the O instead of having to glue it directly to my page or my card. So this is the monogram function. The next function button that I want to talk about is the icon function button. The icon function button is wonderful. It offers lots and lots of different child retro-y cuts, lots of variety that go along with the base cuts, but also seasonally. What I cut was the tricycle, which you will find on page 70, the tricycle, and I cut the tricycle at 2 1/2. I also cut the baby face, which you will find on page 71, at 2 1/2, and I also cut the little hand, which you also will find on page 71, and I cut the little hand at 2. The face is the main icon button. The little hand is using the shift. So for each icon, you've got two choices. The next function button that I'd like to talk about is the card function button. This card was cut using the card function button. Page 48. It's the Scallop Card, which gives you an overlay that looks lacy. That's why I used it. I thought it would look good for Valentine. So I cut the card at 6 1/2 inches, and the lacy rectangular overlay was also cut at 6 1/2 inches. I cut a second one for the inside to layer inside. Okay. The next function button that I would like to talk to you about is the tag function button. This cartridge offers you a nice variety of tags in geometric shapes such as circle, square, but also shapes of things. For example, an ice cream cone. There's a few others. There's like a jack-o'-lantern shape. There's a little teapot shaped tag. There's a little apple shaped tag. A nice little variety to choose from. The circle tag I found on page 59. Right here, page 59 is the circle tag. The little square scallop tag I found on page 35. Right there on page 35 is little square scallop tag. And the ice cream cone tag I found on page 41. On page 41, right here. And that tag gives both layers. It gives a base layer and then an overlay layer. So you can create a cone with then maybe an ice cream color, a color for the ice cream. All the tags on A Child's Year have a little hole in them for your embellishments, your brads or your flowers. I used a small brad, some flowers, and a rhinestone, and a large glittery brad for the circle oval. I'm just going to bring the card back here because I just wanted to talk about the next function button, which is the font function button. The font. The font function offers you lowercase and uppercase. It's a nice looking font, very clean and crisp. It's a serif font. It's kind of retro-y, a little retro-y, kind of like a typewriter font. I used it here, Happy Heart Day or Happy Valentine's Day. I welded it together in Design Studio to create this sentiment for the card. Now the last function button that I want to talk about, which I've already mentioned, is the shadow function. The shadow function offers you a shadow to go behind your cut. So for example, if you cut this little girl at 3 inches, then you cut your shadow at 3 inches. This is what you'll achieve. You'll get your base shape and then a shadow to go behind it. You don't have to change sizes or anything. The cartridge does it for you. So there's no math or trying to figure anything out. The cartridge does all the hard work for you. So now I just wanted to show you a few examples that I've done using this cartridge. Here's a few more examples. On this layout you can see I cut the little girl and her dog with her valentine and holding her valentines. I cut it in like a beige, and then the shadow layer is in a pink color. It's a little hard to see. On this layout I used A Child's Year for the title, CRC's Adventures of Rudolph, and I welded it together. You can see what the font looks like. There you go. On this layout I used the tag function button, and I cut out a tag that has a little cutout of a cat, little kitten, and then these two cats, these were icons. For this layout I used the A Child's Year for the title, and I welded it together with an icon. This is from A Child's Year. It's a little spoon in a bowl for the brownies. I also used this cut from A Child's Year of the little girl putting her brownies into the oven. On this layout I used A Child's Year for the title, our Catherine, and for the little girl at the bottom and her shadow. So I cut the base girl and the shadow. And this last layout I used A Child's Year for the title of my page. Thanks so much for stopping by. Hope you come back again. Bye!